But that should be just the latest in business. We'll bring you up to speed with everything that's happened throughout the day in business on NTV Business later this evening. Our NTV news team is also working on a full news update for you, everything that's happening in your news world, and some of the major stories we're working on for them are these.
Speaker Marende to rule on constitutionality of amendments. Defiant Cecily Mbarire hits back at KACC. ICT sector finding solution for connection gap. African Union to hold emergency security summit.
All right, that news bulletin is about in 23 minutes. Looking forward to that. Let's move away from that. I mentioned we're heavy on technology today. We talked about early group buying and the deal of the day sites modeled along Groupon like Z2 and Trupu and Mokality deals, which launched just this week. We want to move on to another aspect of one thing that has put Kenya on the map, which is mobile money transfer. M-Pesa has been a resounding success. It's already being tried out and already working in Tanzania, in South Africa, and most notably in Afghanistan, where it is called M-Pesa. But all the same, having that put us on the map, M-Pesa, you can still not be able to send money across mobile networks, which is one thing other operators have tried to legislate on and try to push the regulator to open it up. No word on that just yet. But there's one service, MobiKash, that allows you to do just that. Duncan Otieno is now with me. He's the CEO of MobiKash. It's good to see you. What is MobiKash?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Larry.
A pleasure.
MobiKash is a mobile commerce platform, and it is offering mobile money transfer, mobile banking, as well as mobile payment. And we are doing transfers across all networks, across all participating banks, and across all participating merchants. What I mean is when you send money between a Safaricom user to an Airtel user, they will be able to get money in the account. So it is not just an SMS notification for you to be able to collect the money at the agent outlet. And we offer you a range of services that you can be able to transfer money from one bank account to another bank account as well. And when you do this, it is offered in real time. So like, for example, if you look at the market right now, when we talk about RTGS, it takes about 2 hours or at times 1 hour before the money can be credited in the recipient account. With MobiKash, when we do the transfer, it is real time. And that's where we really want to take the market of financial services.
And dumb this down for us. How does it work exactly?
Okay, basically, we are using a technology called USSD.
Right.
And just to explain to the on the layman language, when you want to check your balance, like for example in Safaricom, you dial *144#.
Right.
Or maybe if you want to check on Airtel, you dial *133#.
Those are USSD requests.
Yes. So when you do that, that's what now we call the USSD technology. And for MobiKash, we have a short called *365#. So when you dial that, you'll be able to give you the service of a MobiKash. That's the first instance that you'll be able to have. And if you're not registered, then you'll be requested to go into the nearest MobiKash agent outlet that we are currently rolling out for you to be able to register. If you are high-tech the way you are, we can actually request you to register online. Right. Even though we require a lot of requirements for you, since we are not seeing you online when you are registering, that's what we call non-face-to-face registration.
Yes.
So in this particular case, you can go through the online and do the registration as well. And also our partner financial institutions, you can also be able to register at their agent, at the branch outlets.
Which are these partner institutions?
We have National Bank, Postbank, and Transnational Bank. So we use these particular banks just for the pilot because as per the requirement of Central Bank, they give us a limited number of banks to work with just to prove that the model is working, and whatever part that we want to open up the space for financial services, we can be able to prove with a smaller number of banks.
So once you're registered either at an agent or partner bank, yes. Or you've done that online, then what?
After that, you can put in money in your account if you don't have a bank account that is linked to MobiKash. But if you have a bank account with any of these participating banks, you can actually link that account onto your MobiKash account. And MobiKash allows you to link up to a total of 15 bank accounts. So if you are multi-banks and you have all that number of accounts, we can actually link all the accounts for all the participating banks. So for example, if you have accounts with all the 3 banks that are there, then it means that assume you have 2 accounts, we can link all your 6 accounts and you can access them through the MobiKash portal.
Having a multiple account is an automatic flag for money laundering, but let's assume you do have that many bank accounts.
Yes.
All of them you're able to access on the MobiKash platform. So you move this money around?
You can move the money around. And you cannot launder your own money because it is your own money. And all these banks that you're partnering with, they're also regulated by central bank, and they have the anti-money laundering rules. So they will be able to monitor. So from our end, we also monitor also from the bank also, they'll be able to monitor those.
So you will just stay on that for a little longer. Banks have KYC requirements. Know your customer before you open an account. Where do you live? What do you do? Where you're getting your money from? How does that interface with MobiKash? Okay, basically, like if I talk of the MobiKash customer, the MobiKash account owner, we only require your ID for you to register. And in this, with the mobile money transfer scheme, you find that the schemes normally have a limit. Like currently, there's a limit of 100,000. What you can hold in your bank account. Now, with this, we believe that the risk of you laundering a lot of money is actually reduced by this particular law limit. But now, when we go ahead and put you to have a linked bank account, we believe the bank also have done some KYC on you. So at least now we have 2 policemen in the terms of the KYC monitoring. And then, what are the charges like?
Okay, the charges are actually benchmarked in what is there in the market. Like if you're transferring money, we charge you just a standard 30 shillings, what is there in the market. And when MobiKash was being launched, we did say that we really don't want to go into a price war at the expense of the consumer not getting the quality of the service that they want. So basically, we do it just as standard. And if you're trying to move money between your linked bank accounts and the MobiKash, we try at least to reduce the cost, and that is just about 20 shillings. But if you're moving to someone else, then the cost is 30 shillings.
Why another mobile money transfer service or an m-commerce product when all of the mobile phone operators have their own services like MoneyGram and Western Union, where we have many ways to send money?
Yes, we have many ways, but there are more efficient ways that I think is waiting for Kenya, and I think Kenya is the hub of the mobile commerce, and I think we are beginning to show the world that there's quite a lot that can happen in this market, and they are not just dreams, but they are realities. And if you look at what we are offering, we are trying to create an open platform, and this open platform allows all these particular parties to play together, and we don't want a scenario where if you have it is more of a standalone and it's only for your customers, and the other customers cannot get access to it, then it means we're not doing justice to the other people that might not want to be with the other provider. So we make it open, and we can actually even link with all these other providers as well to ensure that you actually universal and you can be able to get your service anytime and from any network that you want to get to.
What are your thoughts on the financial services industry in Kenya? For many, we don't understand it. Many ordinary Kenyans know terms and conditions. You go work with a bank, or if you need a loan, they'll bury you in the paperwork. So we almost treat with a lot of mistrust.
Yes, I think that has been there, but I think the providers that have offered the current services, the mobile money transfer schemes, has actually tried to demystify that particular notion. And I believe now the Kenyans are beginning to believe, yes, you can keep your money somewhere, even though in the mobile money transfer scheme, they are only storing money. So we don't have what is called more like your savings, the money. I think now the next level, after storing the money, is now to go to the level where now we tell people who are more like semi-banks, because I believe those who are having just a mobile account and they don't have a real bank account, they're actually semi-banks, they're not actually unbanked. And this particular group, what we need now just to do as the industry players is actually to move these particular groups into the real banking so that they can get the full banking service, and just to understand the banks that what the banks are offering, they're not there to rip them off, but at least they are there to offer them the services that will be able to grow this economy.
Is MobiKash breaking even, and when do you expect to do that, considering that your margins are extremely small?
I think with the mobile money transfer scheme, it is more of a numbers business, and you must be able to have the numbers for you to be able to reach the break-even stage.
And what are those numbers at this stage?
Basically, we are looking into at least once you have reached at least a maximum where we are having close to about 600,000 customers to about 1 million. At that particular stage, we will be able to break even, and we are looking into this at least by the end of the second year. We should be able to reach that particular level.
What numbers do you have at this point?
At this point, we have about 65,000 customers. We had registered about 45,000 customers during the pilot period, and after the pilot, I think the numbers, the interest has really grown.
How many agents?
Currently, we have contracted about 3,000 agents that have already applied. We have activated close to about 400 agents at the moment, and we are continuing to activate the agents that have already applied.
Are your agents exclusive MobiKash agents, or they can be able to, people who have shops and almost agency and acting something similar to the agency banking model?
It is similar to the agency banking model. They are open, they can do other things, they can also even contract the other mobile money transfer providers that are in the market. There are some cases that we're already sharing certain agents with some of the mobile money transfer providers.
Beyond breaking even, can you make a tidy sum? Because people have tried this before. Apart from M-Pesa, which makes good money, the ones from the other operators have floundered at best, many barely breaking even.
Yes. Well, I believe the model that we have that is really going to work with the partner banks is actually a model that is actually going to not even benefit MobiKash, but even the partners as well. Because, like, I'll give you a good example. If you go to a MobiKash agent, this MobiKash agent can actually serve all the 3 banks that you're partnering with, or even 46 banks with only one process. So we don't need multi-process for the agent to serve all the banks. So if it means opening a bank account, we have a universal bank account opening system that you can use one booklet to open 46 bank account for 46 different banks. So in essence, it means that we are reducing the cost and even increasing the income for this particular agent to serve all the banks. And they don't need to invest in more resources for them to serve all the banks if they have the appetite of doing the agency banking. So it means with this, actually we are taking the banks to the unbanked. And it means with this, the model will actually be able to benefit both of us.
Finally, talk to me about the regulation. There's been controversy over who exactly should be looking after these services between the Central Bank of Kenya and the Communications Commission.
It is not more of a controversy, but I think when it comes to money business, I think Central Bank is the only regulator that is mandated to monitor the currency policy management in the country or in any country. And if you look at Central Bank, they're also looking at the customer protection. And the customer protection still, from their end, they have to ensure that at least the customers will not be able to lose their funds. If I look at the communications regulator, they are basically looking at the communication element, because the gadgets that we use rely heavily on the communication, and therefore they are better placed at least to monitor that particular the communication element. So they are more of a core regulatory approach that needs to be given to this.
All right, good. And we'll leave it there. Duncan Otieno,
yes,
from MobiKash, the Managing Director. Thanks for dropping by.
Good. Thank you.
And all the best with that. And speaking about the Communications Commission of Kenya, today they're releasing a study on digital access gaps, which is, I believe, a fancy way of saying where they need to work harder, or where there's people who don't have access either to mobile phones, to a mobile phone signal, even to the internet and things like that. And they say there's quite some bit of data, statistics, which should be useful for people who watch that industry and for people interested in generally what the Communications of Kenya is doing and our gap